Bob Richards is here, of course, because it's Monday. You saw some new movies in theaters, and it looks like when people try to make movies based on children's fairy tales, they just open up a can of beanstalks, right?
Sometimes, yes. For the sixth weekend in a row, ticket sales were down. Jack the Giant Slayer cost $200 million to make, but could manage just $28 million in its opening weekend. That was good enough for first place, but below expectations. Identity Thief became the first film of 2013 to cross the $100 million mark and took in $9.7 million for second place. 21 and Over was third with $9 million. The Last Exorcism Part 2 was fourth with $8 million. And the week's other new wide release, Phantom, didn't make the top 10 as it didn't even make $500,000. It scored one of the worst debuts ever for a film opening in more than 1,000 theaters. For the giant $200 million budget, Jack the Giant Slayer is just a mediocre kids movie. Now, I will admit it looks impressive, but I was never able to lose myself in this film. It always looked like computer-generated animation to me. Instead of simply believing what I was seeing, my reaction was, oh, that's impressive. This had a lot of potential, but just seems watered down. It's just a kid's story with little edge. Edge for this film is a giant eating his own booger. It's just not my cup of tea. 3 stars out of 5. Despite a decent cast who gamely offer occasional laughs and glances at their junk, 21 and Over is a movie that's been done 21 and over times. How often do we need to see an inebriated young person projectile vomiting? When we're all drunk, it's pretty funny to draw phallic symbols on the passed out guy's face, but then he's got to go to work at Burger King and gets fired because of it. How about we end this once and for all and call it over? Let there not be 22. 2.5 stars out of 5. Ashley Bell is a very good actress, and she's the one that keeps our interest in The Last Exorcism Part 2. I'm excited to see what she does in the future. Hopefully she makes better choices in movies than this. Now, I realize she probably had a contractual obligation to make this sequel, if you can call it that. It abandons all of the things that made the first film interesting. It also never explains that doozy of an ending in the first film. No, this just gamely ambles along, scarcely a goosebump to be found. Along the way, we find out that a demon has a crush on Ms. Bell. Well, he has good taste, but we have to labor through his courtship. 2 stars out of 5. Despite its stellar cast, including the great Ed Harris, Phantom is a terrible, boring film that managed to get me lost over and over. Harris does his best to try and turn this excrement into something more than diaper filler, but terrible direction, editing, dialogue, and the unfortunate ending that seems to be cobbled together from the leftovers of an episode of Supernatural simply relegate this back to the dung heap. This movie seems to be named after that phenomenon where you feel it coming out, but then look into the toilet and there's nothing there. 1.5 stars out of 5. For my reviews, a look at this week's DVD and Blu-ray releases and more, head over to my website, bobrichardsmoviereviews.com, or link to it at idahooonyourside.com.
So if someone wants the quick version of the reviews on the street about movies this weekend, you just have to say boogers and poop, and that'll about wrap it up, right?
Yes, that's
That'll
correct.
give you an idea of all the films that are in theaters. All right, thanks, Bob.